You can't drop this. You can't drop the budget. You can't drop the defense bill. Okay, those are must passes. So what you do is you force when you.
Oh, he almost said it. He almost said it. You forced. He almost said it.
No. When you is you force when you vote no.
When you force. Shit. You disconnect. When you force when you vote no. Let's see it again. That's pretty sweet.
When you force is you passes. So what you do is you force when you vote no. That forces them back to the negotiating table. But this time, you're actually at the table.
You mean like if you withhold your vote from Nancy Pelosi for speaker, you have to go back to the caucus and you have to fucking figure it out again or get a new speaker? You mean like that? So now you're at the negotiating table? Now you have been like that? He almost said it.
Right now.
I gotta give Jimmy Dore this one. And Jimmy Dore is a legend. He's human like everybody else. So he's been wrong on some stuff. He's been misinformed on some other things. But he's been right on a ton, and uniquely right, meaning calling out some things that aren't really being discussed by a lot of other people. Things that need to be understood by more people about how things actually work versus the theatrics that we see in both parties. Now, one of the issues I do notice, and I don't know, maybe he ran into the similar issues that I have in other ways. If you look at his channel, it definitely looks like a right-wing channel. It's nothing but calling out the Democrats and things like that. I really would love to see more content about Republicans and the right. There's certainly a lot to say there, but I get it. You know, some of the things that he focused on, I guess, is on the left, so he ends up talking a lot about it. And you can only put out so many videos, like with me, right? I heard so much garbage going on the right and in the Republican Party lately with some of the stories that I'm covering, which is the Capitol attack, for sure, is one of the stories, and that alone is dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of stories, right? Because there's so many people that were there for so many different reasons. There's ongoing investigations. There's court cases coming up. That's a ton of stuff to cover. And predominantly, that is a disaster for the right or for the Republican Party. So therefore, I'm getting a lot of stuff to talk about that's pointing out issues on that side. So it's getting to the point now where I'm excited when I see the left screwing up, because I don't want to end up. I mean, I'm not a partisan. But again, there's only so many hours in a day. I'm only one person. If the Republican Party is being so bad, they're overwhelming me. So I'm happy when the left does something that I can point out, so that I don't end up looking exactly like what I call out, even though I know I'm absolutely not the stuff that I call out. Right? If I had a big network with a bunch of people, you would be seeing equal time being given to issues on both sides. In fact, I would make that part of my business model, to always keep it balanced, because even though right now the right is in my view dominating a lot of the corruption right now, there's enough going on both sides that you could run a news channel and give equal time to both parties, right? You just need the manpower. And you could even pick things that are wrong on the left and you can dive deep into them. So you don't even need to necessarily wait for something to happen to report on. You can be the one reporting on it, right? You can break the story, right? You can dig deep into issues on the left and have it be an ongoing thing. But again, that's time and resources. But as far as Jimmy Dore on this thing, forced to vote, man, right? He was the one pushing for forced to vote. He was getting clowned by some people on the left, and Cenk was definitely one of them. And now Cenk looks like he knows he's wrong. I mean, I have to agree with Jimmy Dore on this one. That I think he was probably going to say forced to vote, right? Because he, even if he wasn't saying that, something was up with where he was going. He said force the, and then he pauses And then he kind of jumps to something else. Like that sentence, if you were to write down what he said, it's like a broken sentence. Clearly, he was on one path, and he decided to course correct for some reason. I can't read his mind, so I don't know what is the reason behind that. But I think a logical guess would be that he's probably going to say force the vote. Here's my point of view. Absolutely. I want so much for a lot of people in this country to recognize what is happening right now. It is critical that more people understand the truth about what's going on, because myself and others saw this coming in terms of Joe Biden winning and then people getting complacent. I've been frustrated about the back and forth that happens in this country, and now I'm getting to see why and how it happens. And I think it's important that more people recognize why and how it happens, that we're on a hamster wheel. Because the more people that recognize this, the more people that can do things to take action to get us out of this hamster wheel where we get this mediocre Democrat run, right? Lamest of the lame excuses. And then they supposedly lose. I say supposedly because losing for them means still making $180,000 a year, still being multi-millionaires, right? Democrats who are senators, they're not going anywhere unless we make them go somewhere. And therein lies the problem. So when the Republicans are in power, then the Democrats actually have a legit excuse. But it's nothing but an excuse for something they don't want to do. And you could theorize on that as much as possible, as much as you want. You can't read their minds, right? That's why it's important that many people recognize what's happening right now and pay attention right now, because this is strong evidence to support that theory, ultimately. Here's the proposition. The Democrats have tremendous power right now. There are people who have been fooled into thinking we don't have much power, even though they're seeing the power of the vote right now, which is crippling the Republican Party, right? All those Republicans are bending over backwards because they don't want to piss off the voters, because in this country, the voters rule. But we as American people have been scammed in so many ways, and we don't realize it. One of the scams is to trick us into thinking we have no power, even as we're seeing our power being demonstrated right in front of our eyes. So the proposition is, Democrats have tremendous power. They have the Senate, they have the executive branch. Right now, giving us $15 minimum wage, giving us $2,000 checks is super easy, right? So the only reason that could explain why we don't have these things yet has to be that they don't want to give it to us. But the more important fact is that they recognize that they've successfully fooled us into thinking we have no power. So they know that they can get away with it. We will let them betray us, and we won't do anything about it. That's why they're doing it, because they've made the calculation based on looking on our previous actions that we're not going to stand up for ourselves the way that the Trump voters are in requiring loyalty to Trump. They know if they betray Trump, the voters will vote them out. The Democrats know that they don't have to give us $15 minimum wage. They just have to pretend like they are fighting for it. And we'll be happy with the crumbs. But here's the problem with that. When the Democrats are in power and they give us crumbs as they always do, it doesn't make for a very compelling sell to expand the party. So for other people who are not the typical voters for the Democrats, people who are voting for Trump and Republicans, we're not making a very compelling argument to them to support them, because we have things that have bipartisan support, right? Bipartisan support in this country from the voters for minimum wage and for the $2,000 checks. So by the Democrats not delivering, because their voters are so passive on things like these, they will be able to maintain their typical turnout to get the vote. So they can, do this back and forth thing. Sometimes they win, sometimes they don't, but they'll get votes. But they won't be able to do significant expansion, because to anybody but the people who are already on the left, the Democrats just look like frauds. So if you're on the right, you're a Republican voter, and you're on the fence, you see all the corruption on the right, and you look at the Democrats and you're like, okay, I mean, I want minimum wage too, but they didn't deliver it, man. Like, how much better is my life going to be if I vote for those people? I mean, I know the Republican Party is corrupt, but so are the Democrats. And look at them. They're lying to their voters. Like, what am I going to get for voting for them? Right? Here's something that I also want. I want minimum wage. I'm a Trump voter. I want minimum wage. Their voters want minimum wage. And they didn't even try to deliver it. Right? So people on that side who would be the ones to get rid of this, close races all the time. Right? That's how we can eliminate these close races where Republicans have a chance to actually win with even somebody as crazy as Donald Trump, is because of stuff like that. We're not making a compelling case to expand the voter base, and that's how we go back and forth. Democrats are mediocre, so the only mediocre means you only keep who you already have. So sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. When you lose, you have better excuses. When you win, you have weaker excuses, but it doesn't matter how weak your excuses are if your base is very passive. And they are. The Democrats know if they do the bare minimum, the equation that the voters will make is the Republican Party is an absolute disaster. Left-wing media spends a lot of time talking about that. So people on the left are very informed about how bad the Republican Party is. So when it comes to election time, it's mediocre or disaster. What do you think they're going to choose? So this means the Democrats never really have to do much. This also means that the Republicans will always have a chance to potentially win, even being as bad as they are. And that's how we can go from a lunatic like Trump being in the White House to Joe Biden in the White House. And then somebody maybe worse than Trump in the White House. And since the Republicans seems to have no limit, one time in the future when the Republicans get in the White House and control the Senate and the House, maybe they'll be willing to do a little bit of tinkering to change a few things that'll keep them in power indefinitely. And while we scramble to figure that one out, they can entrench themselves deeper and deeper and deeper until there's a point of no return and the United States becomes unrecognizable. How do we get there? By letting Joe Biden lie to us about $2,000 checks and then naked $1,400. And we're just like, oh, $1,400, that's not bad. By letting Joe Biden lie to us about, oh, $15 minimum wage is a big deal for me, and then have him not fight for it at all. And we're just kind of like, well, he tried. We are a woman in a relationship with an abusive man. Everyone's telling us he's bad for us and we should get rid of him, and he's hurting us and he doesn't love us. But we keep making excuses for this man. And after beating us and cheating on us, all he's got to do is buy some flowers. Maybe say I love you or something. Bare minimum. And we'll just latch on to and hang on to those things. He bought me flowers and he said he loves me. I know he's not perfect. Sometimes he beats me. Sometimes he cheats on me. But he did buy me flowers. And that's not nothing. It's time that the American people stand up for themselves and utilize the tremendous power they have. It's time to end this abusive relationship. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. If you like this content, if you find my perspective intriguing and unique, and perhaps correct, you think I have the correct take, I invite you to join the channel. Click on the subscribe button. I had much more subscribers and they deleted my channel, even though I violated no rules because Skynet has taken over YouTube. The bots got me. So support the rebuilding of my channel from scratch, and hopefully it doesn't get deleted again. All right, guys.